And still on the same, with me in studio, I have Eva Muhia, Commissioner, Nairobi Rivers Commission. And of course, Eva has been leading the integrated planning for the restoration of the Nairobi River Basin across 5 counties. And still on the same, Eva, you know, as you just watched, the Kenya Climate Action Summit has been ongoing, and you've been in the forefront when it comes to the planning of this particular summit. So maybe you can tell us more about how it's been, how the past few days have been, and what are some of the key learnings that you can take from this particular summit?
Yes, thank you very much for having me here.
You're welcome.
And we are grateful that we have a summit that is ongoing. Climate change is local before it's global.
Absolutely.
So we needed to start discussion at a local level in every form that we could. So there was a need to come together in terms of partnership. So we partnered with Kenya School of Government, National Government Affirmative Action Fund, National Youth Council. We partnered with the Young Senator. I think you've seen, they did have a conversation about the youth. Then we had Expo Events who were organizing the event, and we had Green Space. So looking at the formation of this partnership clearly was this private sector, there is organizers for logistics and different parts of government. And in Kenya, we have very many opportunities in terms of climate action,
right,
but we do not project them out there. So we need to start projecting these local actions because they have moved from promises, from ideas, from initiatives to localization. So the summit came together and we had 3 themes. So the first day, it was about policy alignment from the local level all the way to the government level where they formulated. Then we came to the second day, which was yesterday, on leadership coordination. There is need for leadership coordination for us to be able to advance this climate conversation. And then, of course, localized implementation that was today. And it was very, very exciting to see at the local level what is happening on terms of climate and the interpretation of climate change, climate resilience, and climate action at the local level, all the way to the small groups within the local space.
Amazing, yes. Very exciting indeed. Yeah. Now, Eva, of course, Kenya wants to showcase the river regeneration as a case study in the COP30, right? And this is something that you, of course, have been leading, and you've been working on it, I would say, relentlessly. And this is one of your, it's in your mandate to be able to restore the rivers in the country, and of course in the different counties especially. So maybe you can tell us more about how that's going so far and what progress has been made.
Yes, we have the Nairobi Rivers Commission where we have our chair, Bishop Margaret Wanjiru, and we have other 11 commissioners that we do work closely with, and our secretariat and our CEO, Brigadier Morashia. So, and we also have different departments and ministries that are also within the partnership of the Nairobi Rivers Commission. So we have the Ministry of Environment, we have the Ministry of Water and Sanitation, we have the Treasury on board, we have the Ministry of Interior, so we have the Ministry of Housing, where the State Department of Housing, where we are, the Ministry of Lands. So we have quite a bit of a very coordinated space and a collaborative who have been leading the initiative for the Nairobi River Regeneration Plan. So one of the most interesting situations within Nairobi Rivers is the attempts that have been there to clean the Nairobi Rivers. And we're in 5 counties because there's a spread of these rivers towards different spaces and their tributaries. And the cleanup has been an initiative like you get into the river, scoop out the waste, then the waste comes up from the upstream, then down to the downstream, and the same, it's repeated. So His Excellency, through his wisdom, guided that we need to, President Ruto, guided that we really need to look into the river regeneration, has a key and a bigger scope to understand what exactly are the challenges of these rivers and why and what needs to be done for it to be scaled up. So our first assignment was to look at the initiatives that have been there before. What worked, how it worked, why it worked, and what didn't work. So it was, we really need to deal with the root causes of our rivers. And we realized that over 60% we have sewers in the rivers. We actually do not have a river. So if today we have clear sewers, it means probably even our rivers will not have any waters because it's flowing of sewers. Then we looked at the issue for solid waste, the challenges of solid waste within the river corridor. We looked at the encroachment issues within the riparian land. And so that is where that wisdom of His Excellency the President came into looking at how do we form a commission like what Commissioner Grace has said, to bring coordination into this conversation. How do we start speaking to each other? And so the Nairobi River Regeneration Project has now shown how you can turn these challenges into opportunities, and you can bring on board climate action. During the African Climate Summit, His Excellency the President did commit that he's going to start the river regeneration, which is going to be a climate action plan. And so following those steps, we have seen that coordination look into a catalytic project in Nairobi River from Naivasha Road to Lakisama, looking at the sewer, looking at the transformers and the Kenya Power pipe, the piped lines, looking at the water and sanitation, looking at the community social spaces that were already there. The communities were trying to do something, but from a very small level, supported by NGOs, supported by companies, supported by bilateral, multilateral spaces. So the Nairobi River Regeneration becomes a very clear action to show how a coordinated approach would completely transform a country and make it a model to showcase that climate resilience can be adapted through the processes of coordination. I think we've been having a lot of reports of flooding and deaths. I don't think since we started the project we've had any issues of deaths in the flooding, because when there was the evacuation and people were being moved for their own safety, and we were able to acquire the spaces, because the lower parts of the city is where probably most of the valley rivers are. The rivers do pass, and there were quite a bit of encroachment. So when the floods come from the upper part of the upper part of the valley, of the sections of the river, we would find the floods now coming down and cleaning it. And you know, most of the time it would rain at 2 a.m. in the morning. People are sleeping. So you wake up to the news that a whole family was washed away by the floods. But we have not had that, because that clearance, now we were able now to get even the opportunity where we are able to work. So the project is one of the projects that we will be looking in transforming Nairobi, and it is going to be a model. And we believe that this will also be able to report the actions that Kenya is doing towards the climate checklist and the scorecards that the country committed towards COP has a party that is it's within the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, has a party into it.
All right. So when it comes to the different sections of the work that you're doing, you said that this is something that is a combined effort. There's very many stakeholders involved, and there's very many people who have come together to ensure that the River Regeneration Project is a success. So far as we speak, what are some of the things you've mentioned that we haven't lost any lives in the last few months? That is great. I would say it is one of the biggest achievements, because that was something that was really troubling the nation a few months ago, years ago as well. Apart from that, what else would you say has been a success of this project so far?
The creation of green jobs. Yes, we have now communities who've been volunteering to clean up these spaces, but now they're getting paid to assist in this process. That has been a very big plus, and also looking into the sustainability of it. So we've had the State Department of TVET, again another partnership where we are looking into how do we develop green jobs, skill jobs, so that even after this, they are more skilled and they have something they could now run with, and all these different opportunities that come through government or through private sector, they are able to tap into that because they are skilled. Then another thing we could say is a success story, it is the communities. We have community ownership. Why we have issues of sustainability, it's because the communities are not there from the very beginning. We have amazing stories. Today we had a very interesting forum, a panel that was from a community member from Kibra, from Korokocho, from Madare, sitting and discussing how this river regeneration has been a part of their story, and how they've been given an opportunity of a small idea that now the government has come and scaled it up to 100% of more than what it is that they expected. For instance, the Kamkunji is one of the biggest projects that the communities are going to benefit, where there's going to be an 11 aside, where there's going to be a small, they're calling it a small museum that they can give the history of Kamkunji, and the communities themselves are giving the stories of Kamkunji, and the designs were co-developed with them. There's going to be a library, there's going to be a social place, a place where now the communities can come and own an open gym, like the ones we see from, like in China, like we see them in Senegal at the park. So we are going to have that, and then we are going to have a non-motorized walkway where you can walk from Lakisama or from Naivasha to Lakisama along the river, enjoying the breeze of the river. So that livelihood restoration is also something they're adapting, that they're looking at their backspace, the small Uhuru Park they were trying to create. Now it's coming and being scaled up by this project. And
extending to other areas
and
as
extending
well.
to other areas as well, yeah. So also they become models that in Madare River, in Ngong River, this is what is going to be replicated.
Brilliant.
Yes.
And I love the fact that the community engagement is something that will obviously not just benefit them, but it will also benefit us, because we are creating jobs.
Yes.
And at the same time, we are involving the youth. And, you know, when you involve an entire community, you're impacting generations, because awareness is now spread through generations.
Yes.
How exactly are you involving the youth as well? Because I feel like, as we know, in the country, it's so important to empower the youth, in the sense they are the voices that will be taking climate action to the next, you know, generations. They are the voices that are really out here championing for a greener Kenya. So how exactly are you ensuring that the youth are also in the forefront of this project?
First, in the summit, we have the National Youth Council who are partnering in this summit. Then we have the Youth Senate Kenya, I think it was shown in the news.
Yes.
And then we also have the national government affirmative action, where they're looking into women, persons living with disability, and having this conversation. And when we combine this conversation, and also organizations like Green Space that are also trying to really a lot to do something and to bring the voice of the youth into the center of this conversation. So putting that together, we look at now back into the river regeneration. How is this blending together so that these youth, they have ownership of what it is that they want? So you cannot talk about sustainability if you do not have the youth.
Absolutely.
So we are looking into a space where in the panel, one of the youth at Gen Z said that they're looking into AI, into all these river data that we are speaking about, that we are talking about. So they bring these fresh minds into the table. They bring these ideas that now we'll be able to look at sustainability, because youth is sustainability. And then their role to it is like at the policy level.
Right.
How are they involved? Are they sitting on the table, or are they welcomed, or are they on the side of the table, or are they not? So, and their voices are very clear that where we said like climate change is local, is even at the policy level, they come and they become, and they're given the opportunity to say, this is what we really need to do. Whatever was working in 1974, 1986, 2002, 2012, it cannot work now. Now they're looking at it differently.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, very interesting. Eva, we will continue to have this conversation, but first, let me take a short break. We'll be back with much more. And remember, you can also chime in on this conversation if you would like to ask Eva any questions, if you have any interest in this project that we have been discussing when it comes to the river regeneration project. You know, please feel free to ask anything. If you want to learn something from Eva, Eva is very open to just explaining more, expounding on this project. So yes, feel free to give your comments, your feedback, your questions on WhatsApp, as well as on social media at TV47 Kenya. And of course, we'll make sure that you can also find us on WhatsApp. You can also text us. Our SMS number is on the screen as well. So please feel free to talk to us, and we'll make sure that we sample some of your comments later on. Let's take that short break. We'll be right back.